What's up, you guys? My name is Jan Pauk, and today I'm going to teach you how to play a D major chord and how to strengthen that chord shape so that you can use it well in chord changes in songs. So we'll talk about what fingers go on what strings and what frets. We'll talk about what the thumb does on this chord. We'll talk about some general positioning of your fingers in relation to the neck. Then we're also going to learn how to take that shape off of the guitar and put it back on. And we'll see how well you can hold that when you do that. Good little exercise to do to strengthen your chord some more. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to move the chord around on the guitar, which will give that shape a lot more strength as you use it in songs that you might write or songs that you might want to play from bands that you like. So grab your guitar and let's get started. Now, in order to voice the chord, we're going to put our middle finger on the first string, the one closest to the floor, on the second fret. And we're going to go all the way up to the fret so that the note rings out clearly, as opposed to if you're further back on the fret, it won't sound very good. I'm going to call that the sweet spot, all the way up to the fret without being on top. Because if you are on top of the middle bit, again, it won't sound good. So that's your middle finger, second fret, first string. Then we're going to put our index finger on the 1, 2, on the third string on that same second fret, and we're going to try to bring it forward. We can't go all the way forward because the middle finger is in the way, but as far forward as we can to get to that sweet spot. And then we're going to take our ring finger and we're going to put it on the 1, 2, on the second string on the third fret, as far forward as we can. And that's our G chord right there. Now let's talk about some more details about this chord. You'll notice that my pinky's not hanging out somewhere over here. He actually comes in and he helps to push all these fingers together. So all these fingers are touching. The pinky touches the ring finger touches the middle finger, and so on, so that I have a bit of a bridge going on with my fingers. This is much, much easier to hold than if you were to play the chord, say, like this, with every finger by themselves. I can't even hold that off of the guitar. The fingers start shaking and whatnot. So make sure you bring your fingers together and then bring your thumb over the neck. See if I can give you a different perspective. Thumb comes over the neck as opposed to the wrist all bent like that. Comfortably grab the neck. I had a blues teacher who taught me to grab the neck like a baseball bat, he used to say. So grab that neck, get the thumb over the neck so that it's slightly touching your bottom string. I know it's the bottom string is actually the one closest to the ceiling, but it is called the bottom string. When you slightly touch it, it'll be muted, and that'll free up your right hand to be able to just strum that chord without having to not hit that string. I remember reading books about chords, and they would tell you, do not strum that chord, do not strum that string as you play this chord, strum it from the 5th string down. And I'm like, how do you do that? And I see these guys doing windmills and whatever on stage. So just mute what you don't need, okay? So again, all fingers touching, the pinky comes in to help, the thumb is over the neck. Once you get that going, you can quality control your chord by picking all the strings. We'll have a muted one, open A, doesn't really bother the chord. Then we have a D, and you can play all of those. When you first do this, you might get some strings that are not working out. Don't worry about that too much. Do the exercises anyways, and that stuff will cure itself. But every now and then, quality control your chord to see where it's at. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to slowly take our thumb off, and we're going to take that chord off altogether. Can you hold the shape? I can hold this all day long. I can scratch my head with it. I can bring it back. And when I bring it back, I notice if my fingers are still in the right position for me to play the chord. And they are. I've been doing this for a long time, but at first they didn't do that. So again, take that chord off. Put it back on. Are your fingers still in the same place? By keeping your fingers all together, it becomes much easier. This is kind of like a claw or something, if you will, that you teach your hand to do. So take the chord off, put it back on. Something to do when you're watching a movie or something. This will strengthen that shape and will make it easier for you to play that chord. Take it off, put it back on. And then the third thing that we're going to do is we're going to move this around. So we're going to think with our ring finger. By that I mean right now our ring finger is on the 3rd fret, and that's a D chord. Now we're going to lift the pressure off of the strings. We're going to slide along those strings until our ring finger is on the 6th fret. We're going to play that chord, whatever it's called, doesn't matter. Then we're going to lift it again. We're going to slide it up until our ring finger is on the 8th fret, and we're going to strum that. And then we're going to take that off. We're going to slide it all the way until our ring finger is on the 10th fret, and we get another chord. Okay, so that's 4 places. And as you move this chord around, at first it'll kind of fall apart. You'll lose the shape. Your fingers will separate and whatnot. So it's good, really good practice to learn how to hold the shape while sliding on the guitar from one place to the next. So let's turn this into an exercise. I'm going to give you a limited amount of time to get to those 4 places so that you force your hand to get better, if that makes any sense. If I give you all the time in the world, you'll get better, but it'll be a slower process. So ring finger on the 3rd fret, and here we go. 2, 3, and 1, 2 to the 6th fret, ready, and 1, 2, 2 frets higher, ready, and 1, 2 to the 10th fret, ready, and 2, 3, let's go back to the 3rd fret, 1, 2, 3, 4, and strum it, 1, 2, ring finger on the 6th, and 1, 2, ring finger on the 8th, and 1, 2, ring finger on the 10th, and 1, 2, 3. Let's go back to the beginning. Ready? 1, 2, 3, and strum it. 1, 2. Let's put the ring finger on the 6th fret. Ready? And 1, 2, ring on the 8th. Ready? And 1, 2, 3, ring on the 10th, and 1, 2, 3, 4, back to the beginning, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, ring on the 6th, and 1, 2, 3, ring on the 8th, and 1, 2, ring on the 10th, and 1, 2, 3, 4, back to D, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, ring on the 6th, and this is a B flat, 1, 2, ring on the 8th, and this is a G, 1, 2, 3, ring on the 10th, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, back to D. We're going to finish, and so there you have it. It's not just about putting a finger on a string and then you got the chord, and now I got my chord and I keep learning other chords. You want to strengthen those shapes. It's going to help you a lot. It helps a lot of my private students. I think it will help you too. So take this and examine it. See if it works for you. If it does, use it. I'll make more videos with all the different open chords that you want to learn. Again, put your fingers on those strings. Make sure they're all touching each other. Make sure you put the thumb over the neck to slightly touch the bottom string so that it's muted, and it frees up your right hand for strumming. Then take that shape off and put it back on. Do that a good 10 to 20 times. It'll become easier and easier as you do. And then move it around. And by the way, a bunch of bands actually will use this to write their songs. I believe that's Supertramp, right? If you know how to strum, maybe Maybe you can make up a little song using a few different spots, using just that D shape, right? For example. So it's not going to be as difficult as changing chords because you're just holding the shape. But you'll see when you move it around at first, it's going to fall apart. And then after you practice it for a week or two, you'll start being able to hold it. And then you'll be ready to learn the next chord. Alright, well I hope you learned something. I hope this helps you to get better on the guitar. Feel free to comment with any questions that you might have. Please subscribe, and I'll see you next time I see you.